Hi, today we'll be going over the Sapir-Whorf hypothesis, or the theory of linguistic relativity. We are Team 4 composed of Shafiq, Mohammed, Scott Franks, Lucas Pessoa, and Daryl Halima. There are two different versions of the theory, strong and weak. Each is different depending on the degree that one's language shapes one's perception of the world. Let's start with the strong version of the theory. This version is often referred to as linguistic determination and is the idea that language completely determines human cognition. This idea was first introduced in the 19th century by Wilhelm von Humboldt, but it wasn't extensively tested till the 20th century. In the 1940s, Whorf claimed that the Hopi people think about time in a different manner than English people. English speakers often objectivize an abstract concept such as time, but Hopi speakers treat time as a recurring concept. There's a lot of criticism with the strong version because of its strictness. For example, Steven Pinker asserts that we are sometimes unable to portray what we are thinking into words. Pinker also asserts that people who don't have language capabilities can still have thoughts. In addition, if the strong version is true, then translating work of different languages will be difficult, but it's not, as people translate work between languages all the time. Then there is a theory of linguistic relativity, also known as the weak version. This is a more moderate stance and says that language only influences thought, not strictly determining it. This is a much more accepted version than the strong version. There is a lot of support for the weak version. Carmichael, Hogan, and Walter held an experiment where subjects were shown a shape that is mixed between the letter C and a crescent moon. Beneath the shape there were two labels, and the subjects are asked to recall and redraw what one heard. The results of the experiment was that the descriptions that the subjects read formed their cognitive ability to recall what they had seen. The weak version, the theory of linguistic relativity, is more widely accepted because it's more tolerant and allows for other things to influence overall cognition. Experimenters Davis and Corbett held an experiment to see how people of a language varied how they group colors. The results of the experiment favored the weak version of the hypothesis, since when speakers who only have one term to describe the colors green and blue were more likely to group both the blue colors and green colors together. Another experiment, performed by Gedner and Boroditsky, stated that a person's cognition is affected more by the action the object performs rather than the object's physical traits. This result supports the strong version of the theory. However, the experiment also states that language is difficult to measure, which supports the weak version. So in conclusion, support for the weak version of the hypothesis is far greater than support for the strong version. Even though the studies currently lean towards the weak version, we can't completely rule out the strong version and need to perform further studies in order to investigate this more.